Hello everyone. It's time for another episode of 8 Dead Giants After Dark. Yeah, it's going to get exciting here, guys. We're going to talk about some really cool stuff today. We're going to talk about some Steam Nextfest demos. We've got some movie chat. Oh yeah, up in your ears. You're going to love it. Then we're going to recap some of the highlights from the Xbox and Bethesda showcase, as it were. Yeah, who doesn't like those sexy Xbox guys? And then some game chat. But to do all this, I'm joined by the sexiest giant in my roster of big, strong men. It's Matt.
Hot. So hot. Like, I'm literally hot.
I mean, it's
so
really hot today. It's like the hottest day that we've had here in it. What, this year? We're up there, aren't we? It's like 28, 29 degrees right now.
By far the hottest day.
And we're sat in unair-conditioned small rooms full of computers right now, boiling with our fans turned off so we have good audio quality. That's how much we love you guys.
Indeed. Although, I just had a thought. Similar to last episode, I haven't slept since last time I was on, because there was something I didn't get to say this time round. So you asked me a question,
okay,
and I forgot to ask you the same question.
Okay,
it was very rude. It was very rude of me.
Okay.
So where do you like to get plugged?
I love getting plugged wherever someone wants to plug me. I'm not that fussy, like, to be honest.
You're plug agnostic.
I'm I just don't yuck no yums, Matt. I'm just really that guy. I'm just really open-minded. I'll never say never, right? Try anything once. That's my deal, right? That's my deal.
Good.
And also,
I can sleep better.
Yeah, newest, latest, best is the way I always see it as well, right? So that new plug, when that comes along, fill me up. Yeah. Well, we're drinking, so you could almost say our unofficial sponsors are alcohol once again. I'm on some bourbon. What are you partaking of there?
I am on Punk IPA.
Oh, you're going straight for the brand. Okay. I mean, my bourbon is Woodford Reserve, right? Which is one of my favourite, easily purchasable supermarket bourbons.
Is Punk IPA the brand? I thought Brewdog was the brand.
I just feel like it's well known, isn't it, as well, Punk. Everybody knows Punk by Brewdog. Yeah. It's
okay.
Big in the UK.
So
now.
I'm drinking an IPA, I guess.
That would be the type of alcohol, type of beer, wouldn't it? An IPA. Stands for, what does it mean? Educate the listeners.
In plug agnostic.
Oh, so fitting.
Exactly.
The plug said to the hole.
Right.
You did it. You did this.
No.
You did this. You set us off on a tone that I think we will continue with throughout. We've got some really fun stuff to go over today. I always look forward to having you on because I know we're going to have a giggle and it's going to be crazy. But I will share some behind the scenes info. Right, our last After the Dark episode is our most popular episode of 8 Dead Giants so far. So look, the fans have demanded it. We've brought it back. This is going to be a series within a series. I feel like this is going to be like a little spin-off of the normal 8 Dead Giants podcast. So look, I think we shouldn't dally any further. Let's get in to the first section of the show. We're going to get into the Steam Nextfest. So I'll be right back in a second. So I think I'm going to pretty much hand over to you to lead the charge on this section, Matt, because you are the kind of Steam Nextfest demo king. Whenever one of these rolls around, you always send me messages about, what have you checked out on the demos? And I kind of suck at demos. I don't connect with them because I guess I know it's unfinished, and so I struggle to vibe with them. But I know you love trying out new games, even though you won't watch a film trailer to save your life. You will play a demo of a video game. I'm not sure I understand, but maybe you can explain that to me as part of this.
Now that you've said that, it's a really valid point, and I don't know if I can.
I've got you. I've got you, haven't I?
I think with a game, it's a bigger investment than a movie, typically. So sometimes if I can try before I buy, I think it's a good thing. I don't know. I can't explain that one. But yeah, I do enjoy the Steam Nextfest. I kind of like, for those who don't know, I think it's 4 times a year, Steam run a thing called the Nextfest, where loads of typically indie developers will be able to publish demos. And the kind of rule behind it is once they've participated in a Nextfest, they can't do any subsequent Nextfests. So it's kind of the one and only time you get to try that demo at that point in time before they release. So I kind of like that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
There's like a rule about that.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah.
That's
So
interesting.
if a demo's been in a Nextfest, they can't then promote again in another Nextfest. So it's almost like a bit of a like a not games fair. I'm trying to think of the word, but I can't remember now. Game jam.
It's a bit of like a FOMO marketing tool as well, right?
Yeah.
That's quite clever because it's like, play me now, otherwise you might not get to try this again.
Well, I think they're allowed to then have a demo afterwards, but they're not getting promoted in the Nextfest ethos.
Right.
So I go on Reddit and I look at like what other people playing, and then I kind of scroll through. I typically pick like half a dozen of games that I like the sound of, and Steam will go, well, because of the games you've played in the past, these are ones that we think you'll enjoy. So I like all of that, because if I'm just hunting for a demo, I don't have that kind of, it's not feeding me anything. So in the Nextfest, it kind of feeds you that, and then it'll go, these are games on your wish list, and oh, good news, there's some demos now for them. So that's really good.
I mean, it works the opposite for me. Things go onto my wish list based on the demos that I see in Nextfest, rather than them telling me I've got something on my wish list and then there's a demo for it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's where I discover. It is great for discovering, and what I find myself doing is I don't play a lot of them, but because it's using the algorithm, looking at your library, looking what you like, recommending based on that, it's actually surfacing stuff in front of me with like, the little GIF thumbnails and the little descriptions and stuff, and I'm like, oh, I'll pop that on my wish list. And when the game does then fully come out, I kind of look at it more closely and see what the reviews are like on there, and then I might take a punt. So I kind of operate it like that, though I don't actually play a lot of the demos.
Oh, see, I'm the opposite. I will play a bunch of demos, and the majority I sack off within like 2 minutes. I'm like, no, this is too rough, or this is rubbish, and I just bin and I just uninstall. But then some I'm like, wow, that's how I not that I discovered Balatro, but obviously a very popular game. But that was originally in a Steam Nextfest, and I played it. I was like, this is cool. Put it on my wish list, and the minute it came out, I was like, buy straight away. So yeah, I kind of play a handful, and typically a couple will go into my wish list off the back of that, and then probably one out of that two I'll end up purchasing.
So the final thing before we get into your picks, and I might mention some of the ones I did play and didn't enjoy as well. But do you know why Steam Nextfest came into being?
I don't know why, actually.
So it was a combination of two things, which was COVID and the death of E3. Which were kind of chicken and egg situation anyway. E3 was already on the downturn, then COVID happened, and obviously everything stopped. So there were no more opportunities for developers to get their stuff out in front of people at all, right, when that all happened. So a lot of them partnered up with Steam, and Steam saw an opportunity to drive traffic, obviously, as well onto the platform, and started providing this way for people to get these sneak peeks. Because before that, the demo culture on digital platforms didn't really exist. There were demos, but there wasn't a lot of promotional surfacing of that content really out there. But then it became this kind of virtual games show, right? So that's what Steam Nextfest is kind of what that is now, and I think it's brilliant. I grew up on demo discs, right, in magazines.
Exactly.
I loved that. It was always what you wouldn't buy the magazine for the magazine. You'd be looking at what demos are on the disc, and then obviously quite a lot of the time you'd discover random shit on that disc that you wouldn't have otherwise, and that you go onto your little Christmas list or whatever, wouldn't it? But it was always such a fun thing. I mean, I had Xbox ones like that, PlayStation ones. Nintendo never really did as much in the way of demo discs, but for those two, it was massive back when I was growing up. So I loved all that, but
yeah,
and I missed that. Demo discs were fun.
Yeah,
right?
and
they were great.
And I think there was a period of time where there wasn't really demos out there, but now Steam, I think, does a really good job of just. And I think maybe developers have just cottoned on, like, you know what, if we do put a little bit of a demo out there, it will encourage people. And I like the fact that if you've got a demo out there, you've got nothing to hide. You want to show off the work that you've done, just a little taster, and I think it's great.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting because obviously I've always been heavily involved with video game coverage and stuff. So I remember at the time when demos really started to die off, it was the excuse given was the amount of development time to create that vertical slice that could then be polished enough to show to the public, detracted from the final release. That was often used as the reason that, oh, we're not doing a demo, we're not, that kind of thing. But it's now a very different world with the indie developers. Like, I think you really hit the nail on the head. They want to get that engagement. They want to show off the hard work they've done. So to them, they small team, that extra time to do that. And, often it's not as polished as we would have got from those AAA publishers and developers, but you kind of know that going in, so you're much less likely to be disappointed by a crash to desktop or graphical issues or whatever in the actual experience. But it's just like getting to see that hard work because man, they've grafted to create that vision, and I think it's really cool how it's evolved. And it's really, really awesome.
And I think with modern tech now, a lot of the developers can actually gain insight on their game, like. If it's a roguelike, are the majority of people picking an OP build? Okay, well, on release we know that we need to nerf that, or whatever the case may be. They kind of use analytics from their games to then come release. They're ahead of the curve, and that's just, to me, if you've got that opportunity to do it and the tools to do it, it's a smart move. They're obviously caring about the game that they're releasing, and I think that actually goes a long way now than the actual game itself. Is the developer interaction with the target audience. Like, I'm very close to that, and I love games that listen to their audience and talk to their audience and do release notes, and they're on forums and they're like, yes, we're working on this, we're doing that. I think that's really cool compared to a lot of others where they just ignore and they die very quickly because gamers are extremely fickle, and they'll just jump on reviews and they'll just say dead developer, doesn't talk to their audience, don't buy this game, and the game's dead.
I think it's really interesting that before this started recording we were talking about tangents we go off on. I don't think I expected us kind of get into this, but now you've made me think of stuff, and it's like, so you like that sort of community driven development cycle, right? Whereas I totally come at it from a different perspective, right? I appreciate that exists, but I see games as a crafted piece of art and entertainment. I don't necessarily want to have an influence over the creators of such projects. I want them to give me their vision that I then get to connect with and experience, for better or worse. I don't want everything to be community driven, because it's basically development by committee. By the most voted for thing wins. That doesn't make good art. That makes beige.
Yeah.
Right? So. But I know that's not always the case. But do you see that side of it as well? It's really interesting, isn't it?
I do, and I think that's. I play a lot of indie like one-man band indie games, and I think they always start with their vision and they'll stick with their vision. But if they can get a bit of insight, I don't mean change the game, but like I've seen it where they go, the majority of you go down this route. We didn't want that, and that wasn't our vision. But now that we've seen that, we're going to change it so we can make sure that we do give you our vision. That's kind of where I was going with that.
Interesting. Yeah, I get that too. That's really cool. Let's talk about some games.
Yeah.
Right? I think we've digressed way too long already. Tell me about there's 3 you've got on here. Tell me your 3 picks from this.
I've picked 3. 2 have made it to my wish list. 1 I'm on the fence on. Not quite sure. So they are. I'll just go one by one. So one's called Voidbreaker, which I thought was really cool. And actually, the only reason I picked that is because that was originally on your list of these are the ones I'm keen on. I was like, oh, okay. So I picked that up, and this is why I love Nextfest so much. Like, you just dive into these things and have no clue what they're going to be. So this is a roguelike FPS with, there's a little bit of story involved in that, but traditional roguelike, if you've never played one before, you kind of do arena by arena, and then you unlock some sort of powers for your run. And if you die, you get some sort of currency, and you can power yourself up, and then you'll be a bit stronger next run, and over and over and over again. But it just had a really cool aesthetic. It was like had like a Tron feel to it, and that's why I'm surprised you. I don't know. Did you get to play this one?
I downloaded it, I booted it up to make sure it was working, and then proceeded not to play it.
So it has a bit of a. To me, it had a bit of a modern day Tron vibe to it. The gunplay was really cool. It's fun. Again, this is right up your street, I think, because it has that kind of boomer shooter feel to it. It's fast paced. You're zipping around.
Yeah, and that was why the algorithm suggested it to me, right? 100%. I have so many boomer shooters on my Steam library, it's ridiculous. Yeah. So that's why it must have done it.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, really cool. It sounds like there's a bit of a story going on in there. There's a bit of a narrative behind the scenes, which I'm all for. Roguelike's probably one of my most played genre at the moment because they're very good for dipping in and dipping out. And I like the ones that try and entwine a bit of a narrative to it. Yeah, super cool, but essentially a roguelike FPS without going on too much about that. But yeah, definitely you'll love that one.
So based off the algorithm and now your review of that, I will 100% check that out this weekend. I just sort of ran out of time to give it a go. I think unfortunately I picked some of the not as good demos to try, and I was like, oh, these are not great. So I kind of jumped off quite quick.
Yeah.
But I know the next one you're going to mention was really top of your list.
Yes. So for the life of me, I can't remember what event I watched the original trailer on. It wasn't an E3. It was some sort of showcase. But this trailer came out like 3 or 4 months ago. This is for a game called Dispatch, which is known to have Jesse from Breaking Bad. I can't remember the actor's name now. Aaron Paul, is it?
Yep.
So he's like a voice actor in it. But this is really cool because it's very similar to another game that I've played, which is the game's name is now escaping my head. It's got the dude who does the voice of Duke Nukem in it. Can't remember. But you're basically in this game. You are, and I think some sort of accidents happen. It's very good at kind of dropping you in at a point in time of the game, so you don't really know the full backstory. But you used to be a superhero at some point. Superheroes are in this world. They fight crime. But you're not you're not playing as the hero in this. You are the dispatch caller. So you have a team of heroes, and they're kind of a bit like Justice League-y. They're sort of ex-criminals, and they're trying to make amends and serve their time by doing the greater good. And you're basically getting calls like, my cat stuck up a tree. And then the type of heroes that you have, you'll pick like, well, cat's up a tree, who's really good with agility? I think that'll be good. And you send out these heroes to dispatch them out to these calls. And then you get like story points like, do you want to go left or do you want to go right with this option? They give you various options as the game goes on. And I think that plays out a narrative as well. And it will unlock different powers for these heroes and they'll be stronger. But yeah, it's a management sim. And you're just sending these heroes out around this map to some are fighting crime, some are saving cats up trees. But I love the way it looks. It's got really cool animation style to it. To me, this is going to be quite a cool visual novel game with some sort of management sim in the background. That's how I see it playing out. But I'm all for this. I think it's one of those ones where you're just going to sit and just enjoy watching it in one way, shape, or form for sort of a couple hours at a time, and I think I'm just going to really enjoy the experience.
Yeah, no, again, it looked great. I can't remember where I saw something about this, but also remember seeing something about this in the last 6 or so months, and it going onto my list because I like that perspective where he's a fallen hero. He kind of gets ridiculed and pissed on by everybody else, and he's like, he still wants to help. He still wants to do good, and they're all arrogant arseholes. And he's obviously he's going to earn their respect, and there's going to be some character development and cool story there, and there's just enough interactivity to kind of hook you and pull you in. But yeah, it's going to be that narrative and that character stuff that really will make it work or not, won't it? So that does look really cool.
So and some points were actually really funny. It was a bit telltale at some points. It was like a cut scene, and you're in a toilet, and like a big strong hero it goes to like give you a fist bump whilst you're at the urinal, and then you get the choice: do you want to give him a fist bump back? Do you want to ignore him? And I think depending on the options you take will determine how that guy interacts with you further down the line, which I think is quite cool. But the game it reminds me of, I've just had a quick look. This is the Police. It reminds me of a game that's called that, if you've ever played that.
Yeah, it's garbage, but okay.
Oh no, maybe you won't like this then.
Did you like? The Police had some really questionable tone.
Yes.
I didn't read, and it wasn't like, oh, this is knowingly nod wink with. This is like, oh no, this is what the developers really think policing should be like, kind of vibe to it. And it was like, oh, okay, there's some iffiness here, which I didn't know I was completely on board with. I remember playing that. I remember torture scenes in that game, which was quite strange.
But the way you play the game, the management piece, it's similar to this.
Yeah. I mean, and I've played quite a few.
Yeah, it's like 9/11,
I love a management game.
9/11 Operator and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, good fun. Yeah, and the final one on the list was one I actually mentioned to you. I don't know if it had been in your radar beforehand.
No, it wasn't.
But I saw the trailer for this and I thought, oh, hello. I'm curious to see what you think before I tell you what I think.
Okay.
I'm not human.
No, I'm not human. This is my on the fence one. I was very intrigued by the story. Obviously, you only know a little bit in the demo, but like, what is going on? What is the purpose? I thought the way it looked was really cool. It was creepy. I like creepy without the cheap jump scares. That's my perfect horror game. And this had that. I like looking out the window at night, and it's like, who's out? Who did you ever get to do that? Like, look out the window. Oh my god, some of the scenes outside, I was like, oh god, it's like chills up my spine. But essentially, yeah, this game, you're in your house, something's gone on in the world, it's not looking good. People are knocking on your door, but it reminded me loads of a game called Papers, Please. You had like, check these humans' teeth. If they've got perfect teeth, the chances are they're not human, I guess. Do you want to let them into your house or not? There's basically random people are knocking on your door, like, can I come in? And do you let them in or do you not? And I guess the game's going to unfold with the types of people you let in. I started off picking and choosing, and then I was like, I'm just going to let everyone in. So I started letting loads of random people in the house, but nothing really happens. And then during the day you have like action points, and you can go and test them. Like, show me your teeth, show me your eyeballs. Are they bloodshot? Oh, they're bloodshot. I'm gonna blow your brains out now. And then you just shoot them in the middle of the room. So I didn't know where it was going with that, and maybe this is where a demo could be the pro and the con. Because I didn't know, where's this leading? Is this the game? And then I was a bit like, oh, I don't know what to do now.
So I mean, I was initially really attracted by the creepiness of the art style. Like, that just was like, ooh, that's different. That stood out. And I think the trailer that I saw was really well cut together, and that conveyed that tone again really well. The problem for me was the writing. I just didn't think it was good enough to really connect with it. It was like, when you're going to have that basically visual novel style presentation with minimal interactivity, the writing has to be so goddamn good, like, and you have to be able to convey character so efficiently. And I think there's a message being told here about the sort of self-imposed isolationist society that we live in now, in a world that we're so disconnected from each other, that we just interact like this, like we're doing right now on virtual boxes, and that we don't connect with people, that the community has fallen apart, that you don't want people to come in your house, that your default is always to distrust, and it's playing up a lot of those kind of Trumpian 2010, 2020 kind of vibes post-COVID that we've built up. And I think there is a political element to what they're trying to say here. But like I said, the writing behind that, all of that, just not great. And either it's maybe a foreign developer, I didn't look into this and it's a translation issue, or it's just not great English writing. And I'd love to see it sharpened up with a few more passes, and that might happen, right? This is a demo. That could happen. It's not the final release. But if it's at a price point where it is low enough when it comes out, I might still just take a punt to see where it goes. Because, yeah, the arbitrary nature of I just can kill that person. Like, what's the implications of that? That's what I need to understand.
Yeah, that was the bit. I'm pretty sure I shot someone's head off that wasn't whatever these things are. Because then I did shoot other people that were these things, and I got like a weird, not cutscene, but like an image that would pop up.
All right.
But as I said, I guess similar lines to you is I wasn't quite sure where I was going with this, and that was down to the storytelling. Like, well, why should or shouldn't I let these people in? Like, it kind of left a bit of a gap there. But in terms of vibes, it was really cool, very unique, very different. And these sorts of games is something quite new I'm getting involved in. There was a game called Coffee Talk that got me into this type of visual novel with a little bit of game involved in that. This kind of had that similar thing, but yeah, it just fell short because I just wasn't quite sure what my goal was.
Have you played Doki Doki Literature Club?
No, but I hear it's really good. I actually own it.
Play Doki Doki Literature Club.
Okay, maybe that'll be my next game that I'll play before coming on.
That I will give you no spoilers other than to say it goes places and it's very well written.
Okay.
Like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to try that, and I want to try Citizen Sleeper.
Yeah, but I would. That's a bit more management than just visual novel and RPG. There's quite a lot of management and RPG in that as well. There's more game in that than some of the typical visual novel games.
Okay.
Definitely. It's also very good though. Yeah, 100%. But any other games you played that you were like, oh no, in the bin?
There was a gun. What was it called?
Gunwell, which is clearly a iteration on Downwell, which came out on mobile like a million years ago. And Gunwell, I also played Gunwell, and I did a run, and I was like, I get it. It's fine.
Yeah, it was a bit weird. I tried one which I was really disappointed in. Board Game Society. It's like an 80s vibe board game, and I was like, cool. I'm a big board gamer. Love that 80s aesthetic. But right at the start, I was like, this is best played with other people. I was like, I don't have any friends.
Okay. What do you mean? I'm right here.
So
fucking hell, brutal, man.
I tried a single player, and this is one where you need to have a polished demo. I clicked a few times, it didn't explain anything to me. I was like, no, turn that off straight away. And I think that was it from me. I didn't do as many as I did last time from previous ones, I have to admit.
Okay. No, fair enough. What I think we'll do then is we'll wrap up our chat there around demos, demo culture, and the Steam Nextfest phenomenon, and we'll move into movie talk, in which we're going to chat about two very, very different movies, one much more recent than the other, and both of which we've seen together, well, not together, but we've seen ourselves in the last week or so. So I'm really looking forward to this. This is going to be a good chat around some films. Back in a sec. So I was sort of thinking what order to approach these films, and I think we go with the new hotness. Let's go with the new hotness first. Yeah,
because that will then make the second one the best movie of all time.
I really need to talk to you and find out if you genuinely mean that, because you've been saying that to me since you watched it a few weeks ago. But anyway, let's talk about The Accountant 2 first, starring. God, you can tell I've been drinking.
Starring Batman, and the Punisher,
in less impressive roles. shall we say. I'm guessing you must have seen the original Accountant.
Yeah, so I really like The Accountant. I like the idea of the dude from Argo having autism and being a hitman.
I was really wondering when you were going to go with that, and it wasn't great, but it could have been a lot worse.
But I like... So I'm talking about Ben Affleck. And is it Argo he's in?
It's one of the films he's been in, yeah. He's been in quite a lot of movies.
I had this thing where I'd never just name the actor's name, and I'll just name all different films that they've been in.
It's like the way when your parents try to tell you what film star they like. Oh, you know that guy from that thing. You know that thing. Dogma. The thing he did. You know the one. You like that one. Yeah, it's good.
But I thought the first one was really cool. Like, he's this autistic, hyper-intelligent guy, socially awkward accountant, but he's like one of the best hitmen in the world, works for some really dangerous people. And I thought it was a really cool concept. And I liked it. And I thought Ben Affleck playing this socially awkward guy worked.
Yeah.
I will say that about the first one.
Yeah.
Do you want to add anything on the first
one? Okay,
I
mean, yeah, sure. I like the first one. When I heard about the second one, my biggest concern was no Anna Kendrick. I thought Anna Kendrick brings a levity to that first movie with the quasi sort of almost romance plot to bring some light into what is a very dark world they establish in that, where he's basically kind of a hitman by birth, because really he wasn't going to be suitable for anything else because of the challenges he faced with his disability and the way his parents, oh my god, how his dad treated him, if you remember rightly, and his brother, as they grew up and stuff. He really didn't have a choice. That was both of their futures was going to be violence. I thought having Anna Kendrick there to play over from that, to bring that humanity, to give him some light in his life so he could see there was a future, the reason to go on beyond just violence, I thought was really clever and actually balanced the movie really well. And I always think Anna Kendrick is pretty much universally good in everything she shows up in, so she's always incredibly watchable and talented. So when she wasn't in this one, I was a bit like, how are they going to make that work? How's that balance going to work? And then I will say, watching it, they've turned it into a buddy cop movie between him and his brother, and I think that actually worked. Now, I had big problems, as I think you might be alluding to from your pregnant pause earlier, with the sequel, especially in its first act, where I was like, this isn't working. This doesn't have any of the charm that I remember from the first one. It felt much more serious. It felt kind of oppressive. It starts off with the violent murder of a character from the first movie, a sort of a ancillary character, but still that's what starts the kind of the plot moving in this film.
The guy from the drama teacher from Whiplash.
Yeah, the drama teacher from Whiplash. And I was like, I kind of wish I'd watched The Accountant, the first one, more recently, because I was trying to desperately work out what the relationship was with the female cop lady, the FBI. I was trying to remember who she was, and I was really struggling to really remember why she mattered and who she was in relation to Ben Affleck's character. But it kind of started to click after that. We got 20 minutes, half an hour into the movie, and we get John Bernthal, his brother, showing up more. And I think John Bernthal is actually the MVP of this film, way more than Ben Affleck. Way more.
See, this is where I might differ. Like, he just plays the same guy that he plays every time, which is fine. Like, if that's your, stay in your lane.
I don't think he's nearly as myopic as Frank Castle. Like, have you watched Daredevil Born Again, in which he shows up again in that as Punisher?
No.
Yeah, he is so... he's got no charm, no charisma, no personality other than violence. He's really...
Is that what his character is in this?
No, I think he's got... Actually, they do quite a good job when he's introduced in the hotel room with the whole thing about him seeking companionship by trying to adopt a dog and showing his nerves around their interaction with the dog's current owner.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And did a huge amount of legwork of humanizing him. He barely got anything in that first movie because he was just a twist reveal at the end of the third act, if you remember rightly. That, it's his brother who's leading the mercenary gang trying to kill him. Actually, they're brothers, so they're going to help each other. And it was kind of like this big twist reveal, and it's like he wasn't really in that movie. Whereas they've decided to obviously make him a major character in the sequel, and they do a lot in that first scene to actually give you and he's walking around in his like pulled up black socks and his boxer shorts in this fancy, amazing hotel, like this like 5-star plus like hotel, living the life of Riley, and all he wants is to adopt a corgi and have someone love him.
It's when he's chatting to the lady at the dinner table. She's like, "Please, are you gonna hurt me?" He's like, "Why would you think I was gonna hurt you? Like, I just want to have a conversation." Like, how dare you? Like, and he just walks out and there's a load of dead bodies en route to the elevator.
I mean, it was so predictable, that scene, that as someone that understands film and like, you know, has dabbled with screenplays, I literally saw that scene open up and turned to my wife and went, yeah, there's going to be bodies all over the floor because he's just killed a bunch of people. It was so obvious, wasn't it? It was like lazy. And that's where I was at the beginning of the movie. I was like, oh, this is not looking good.
The thing I thought that was missing from this film was Ben Affleck being a hitman, trying to do the accountancy thing and being a hitman. I think that was missing. Instead, they put 10 minutes of him line dancing, which was one of the most cringiest things I've ever seen. And they were like, "Oh, the guy with autism's having fun." Like, yeah, but I want him to shoot people in the head. Like, that was the.
But this is to do with building the characters, the two of them and their relationship and what they mean to each other and how they'll step in, and it's all about giving you that pathos. So when you get to the third act, and the willingness to support each other and sacrifice for each other and come back for each other, and you know, without trying to spoil their third act finale and stuff too much. It's also really dark in places. This film has got weird tone, like, because it jumps all over the place when it, you know, it has those comedy moments, that levity, the brother stuff, the line dancing, and then the central conceit of the criminality stuff.
Pit to kill a bunch of kids.
Yeah. It's like, okay, right.
Yeah, and I think the fact that it basically went from cinema straight to streaming on Amazon within weeks.
I don't. It's been a little while since theatrical. I mean, it's been a couple of months. Yeah, it's pretty standard amount of time at this point, I think. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it was ever going to blow up the box office, but I think it did okay. What did you think of the whole plot with Amnesia Girl?
Yeah, I thought that was weird as well.
That was strange. Like, it feels like they're trying to sow the seeds for a third. Do you know what I mean?
Where she's more of an assassin.
She'll be more of a bigger part of the kind of protagonist element rather than antagonist element of the plot in the third movie. That's kind of and what I read as well. Anna Kendrick is interesting coming back for the third movie. Okay. I mean, yeah.
But overall, I thought it was okay. It was definitely watchable and enjoyable, so I do recommend watching it. But if you're expecting the first Accountant, then don't do that. Try and come in with a bit of a fresh mind, and I don't think you'll be too disappointed. Unfortunately, I came in thinking this is going to be more of the first one. Great, and it wasn't so much. There were some bits though where I thought Ben Affleck was really funny in it, which again, tone, is it relevant? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's difficult as well when nowadays there's a lot of questions of should we be casting, you know, ableist actors in disabled people's roles, and it's because there are actors out there, you know, who are disabled in that way that could be playing that character, and yet you've got Ben Affleck who's fully capable in that role instead. I mean, I'm not sure you'd get an Accountant 1 in 2025. Do you know what I mean? So having the sequel now, I mean, it kind of backdoors its way into being okay, I guess, but and you could always argue that they're trying to expose the fact that these guys are just as capable of being bloodthirsty assassins as anyone. Like, oh man, that's just really cool. I don't know. I don't really understand. That first film has some charm and humor to it that makes it stand out as something a bit different. I don't think this has that. And again, if this movie wasn't a sequel, right, and it was just out, that plot just came out for a film, and it wasn't a sequel to a semi-successful movie, and it was like had some C-list guy in the role, like a Frank Grillo, right, who I really like, but you could see Frank Grillo playing that role. Nobody would. That would have been straight to streaming. right? Nobody would have cared about this movie. It's only because it's a sequel to a movie starring Ben Affleck. And it's interesting that they've got John Bernthal back, because obviously his star has massively gone up through the sort of stratosphere because of the success of the shows he's been in, the Marvel Association and things like that. So, I do think it's unlikely he'll be back for a third movie. And that's therefore we've got this, let's set up some other characters. Oh, Anna Kendrick's probably not had a lot of work in a bit, so maybe she wants to do a project. So yeah, I just, it feels a bit soulless, doesn't it? It feels a bit like what it is, which is a cash grab sequel. But it was fine, like you said, right? I didn't hate the time I spent with it. It wasn't an awful thing to watch. It was whatever. Yeah. I've got other movies on my docket right now that I'm much more excited about watching, that I need to get to, that are like, new A24 films. I've got some really like well-regarded movies that have come out this year that I've got to watch, and I'm very much more excited about. So they'll be coming up in some forthcoming episodes, maybe ones you can join me for as well, Matt. That would be nice, but I'll recommend them to you. But we've got one more big film to talk about before we finish movies today.
Oh my God, please.
So let me do a little bit of a trailer voice style intro. In a world where the Cold War is decided mano a mano, but the man is a robot. Robot Jocks. The 1989 movie that nobody saw, I don't think, in 1989, about literally how conflicts around territory in this world, and instead of decided by nuclear war, are decided by men in big robots fighting each other.
One-on-one.
One-on-one. Matt,
what a brilliant concept. Russia just goes, I want Alaska, and America's like, well, fight me for it, bro.
Fight for it.
Let's go, bro. And then they just duke it out in giant mechs. Winner takes all.
So I'd seen this movie before. You watched it as part of your little friendship group movie club thing that you do, yeah?
Oh, sounds like jealous.
Super jealous that I'm not in that. Yeah, super jealous. But I'd seen it anyway, so I wouldn't want to do it. It's fine. But I watched it again after you telling me how much you loved it. And I was like, all right, we're gonna talk about this on the podcast. This film has no plot.
How dare you?
It has.
This is full of plot, rich with lore. How dare you?
I didn't necessarily mean that as a bad thing. It was more like it has setups for scenes. But it's like, so we've got super good fighting guy for the US, right? That's character number one. Achilles, thank you. And then we've got super bad guy fighting for the Russians, Alexander. You're looking at, you've got it in front of you on a webpage.
I don't. I promise you I don't.
Okay.
Right, okay, hands free. I'm going to turn my camera to my screen. Are you ready? Ready?
All right.
Look, I'm going to just...
All right.
Look, there's you.
Oh, it's just me.
There's the show notes. And there's our recording.
And there's nothing else. It's true.
Nothing
This
else.
is stuck. He's already watched it 6 times since we spoke to each other. Okay, fair enough. Props to you for knowing those character names.
I feel like you're not taking RoboJocks that seriously, Benjamin. And quite frankly, I'm hard.
I don't think anyone in this film or the production of it took it that seriously, but that's cool. That's cool. I'm glad you do. I'm glad you see this as a seminal piece of filmmaking history. But look, props to it. It's an entertaining film, right? It is. And I actually I kind of respect the special effects. They are men in suits, but they do quite good work with the men in suits, right? They do okay.
Especially the wire that's holding up some of these model robots.
I just so there's Achilles, right? Let's get through the plot. Let's get through it. So, this is a film from 1989, right? So very much of its time. It's an hour and 25 minutes long, so not even properly feature length. This is brief. And even then it feels like 3 hours, but it's fine. And then, so Achilles is going to retire, right?
Yeah, so
he's had
enough. The golden boy. He's like 10-0 or 12-0, something like that.
Yeah. He's done. He's punched all of his Robot Jocks loyalty card stickers in, and he's like, I don't need to do this anymore. I've got my 10. I'm done. So they're looking for a new generation, and this new generation are genetically bred for war combatants. Tubies.
Also known as... Yeah.
That's really good. I actually quite like that, Tubies, yeah.
Now, we need to remember, this movie is a PG.
Yes.
And there's a line, and there's some banging lines in this film. One is I think one of the top lines in cinema ever, where Alexander points at Achilles and says, "I'll kill you till you're dead." What a line.
Yep. It's definitely words.
But also, the Doctor gives Achilles a test tube to basically say, fill this up so we can make some tubies from your DNA. And he points at the only female tubie, Athena, and goes, let me just dump it straight into the source. I was like, this is a PG!
How do you? I mean, what they don't make him like they used to. So I mean, I mean that's some tact right there. He's a charmer. Then let's talk about that relationship. Achilles and Athena. It is some weird, inappropriately confused stuff. Like half the time they're trying to kill each other. The other half the time they're trying to have sex with each other. I mean, you could argue it's like they're a married couple, I suppose. But you know,
I think it's more forced upon him. I mean, she does stun him, which can only be described as a coloured in silver glue gun. Yeah, poor Athena. All she wants to do is fight the good fight.
This is what I mean by no plot. I'm really struggling to like hit the beats for this film. It's like, so he wants to retire. They don't want him to retire. So he retires anyway.
So his final fight was against Alexander. That was hang on, just backtrack, right? His final fight. I'm going to retire after this fight, and he fights Alexander. But Alexander, he kills people in the battleground, which is actually frowned upon. He's very crafty. He's a crafty Russian, and he goes through fire his rocket fist at the crowd.
Yeah.
And Achilles is like, "No way, Jose." So he jumps in the way of this
and saves the day. Oh, hold on.
Well, yes,
not quite.
So not quite.
Not quite.
He forgets he's in a massive mech. Which is can easily happen.
We've all been there.
He gets hit in the chest. Sorry, the mech gets hit in the chest, and it falls onto
the stadium,
the stand.
Yeah.
Where, remember, this is a PG. People are dead, and they're screaming for their lives. And I think there's children.
At one point, there is a close up on a dead child, Matt. Close up. It's not just in the background. They literally zoom in on the corpse of a child. And
this is where Robot Jocks is Oscar winning. That's just deep, man.
It's deep.
And films
storytelling.
Storytelling.
Character.
Accountant 2 didn't even go there. They didn't have the balls to go there. They just sort of showed a digger. Well done. Take a line out of Robo. Do you know the production company of Robo Jocks actually went bust because it was one of the most expensive movies ever made at the time, or something stupid? Anyway, so this tragedy happens, and Achilles is like, "Oh, I can't do this. It's messing with my head. Oh no, I'm retiring. I'm done."
Think of the children.
But the fight was inconclusive. So Alaska, because it's full of rich resources, is still up for grabs. Russia still wants it. A fight still needs to happen. And this is where the tubies come in, and they're putting them through the ringer to see who's the best to fight Alexander.
Including a pretty insane, cut game from Gladiators. It's the only way to describe it, where they have to climb like a crazy climbing...
Just like a scaffolding.
Scaffolding, but it's all booby-trapped to try and kill them.
Yeah.
That is a weird scene.
Deep. It's good.
Deep.
It's the best.
Yeah. Athena wins. And she wants glory in the arena.
She wants glory. But then Achilles is like, "No, I'm coming back."
Yeah, but he decides to come back because they choose Athena, right? And it's like he wants to protect her.
Yeah.
And that's where this is where is this come from? Is it just because she's a woman? Is that literally what we're saying?
But also, there's a spy amongst the midst.
Twist. And
his closest friend.
Yeah. Go on, remember this guy's character's name. Actually, Tex? It is Tex. I remember Tex.
Yes.
I remember Tex, yes.
Now, do I remember the doctor who got wrongly accused? Dr. Akimoto?
Sure, mate. I don't know that one. I'm checking now. Dr. Kamakona? Sorry. Dr. Matsumoto.
Matsumoto. There we go. So there's a great scene between Tex and Dr. Matsumoto where then Tex... He's the... I think we're just going to spoil the film.
Yeah, I mean, it's 1989, mate. I think we're good.
Okay. So Tex is the spy, but Tex has been with Achilles from day one, but he's the one that's feeding the Russians information on their mechs.
Do we know why? No. Do we ever find out his motivation for being the spy? No. But he is. Because crafty Russians.
Crafty Russians. Now, do you remember, because Tex gets found out, he's held at gunpoint, there's two ways out. Come quietly, or jump out of a window and kill yourself. He chooses option 2. Do you remember what he screams on the way down?
No, remind me.
He screams, and again, how did he not win an Oscar for this line? I do not know. When he jumps to his death, he shouts out, Geronimo.
Like a true Texan would.
Like a true Texan spy would.
Yeah. And I just remember some of the... do you remember the scene where he throws that casual racism at the doctor as well? Because he's like...
Constantly.
And he's just like, I think he still refers to him as Jap, doesn't he? He's like, you can't trust that dirty Jap. And it's like, bloody hell, Christ almighty.
It's a PG. But anyway, I'm conscious of time. I think it's brilliant. It's charming.
Conscious of time? All right.
Only because I could talk about this film for a long time. It's the best 7.8 out of 10 film ever.
Where'd you get 7.8 from? What's that?
That was my personal score. Yeah. But there's two things. Well, one thing, how on earth this didn't catch on in life, I do not know. It's something I'm trying to embed into my children, and hopefully we can kind of spread this to the younger generation.
Just skip it and go straight to Pacific Rim. No, seriously.
No, because Pacific Rim doesn't have the fist bump with the thumbs up.
But it has a chainsword. It has awesome monsters. It has incredible visuals.
Whoa. Robot Jocks has a chainsaw. It comes out of Alexander's mech's crutch.
True. You are correct. I'd forgotten.
But let's just go back to the fist bump with the thumbs up. So everyone just close your eyes. You either, at the moment, in this day and age, you either give someone a fist bump, or from a distance you give them a thumbs up. Why don't you combine the two? Robot Jocks invented this, and we need to carry it on. It's
almost like you don't combine the two because it's completely unnecessary, which would be another way of describing this entire film. Anyway.
This is the last time I'm ever going to get on this show.
Look, I like it. It's a good time. It's complete nonsense, but it is... I love, quasi B-movie, bad movies, and this is definitely one of those, and I think it is fun. It is fun. There is some incredible overacting and strange dated shit in there, but I do think it deserves a bit more recognition for what it did in that era. It is quite sort of unknown as a film, so I'm thinking, what we're doing right now, it's a service to cinema, is by drawing attention to Robot Jocks. And you're right, I think I might have called it Robo Jocks at the beginning, but you're right, it's Robot Jocks. Say it.
Yeah.
Put some respect on that name.
And I assume it's jocks because they're robot jockeys, maybe?
Well, they're piloting it, aren't they? They're piloting the robots. Yeah.
But I am a bit of a sucker for these type of... I love Transformers. I love Pacific Rim. I like these, giant... like Godzilla, King Kong. I like things that are just big. Probably should have reworded that.
Certainly not something your wife says. Yeah, boy. Got you that one. Zing, zing, zing.
But yeah, so this, it is silly. But Everything resonates. I don't know why I remember all the characters. I don't know why I remember the story. It clicked. Yeah.
It's okay. It's allowed. It's allowed. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I was glad to go back and rewatch it. It'd been many years since I'd seen it last, so I was glad to watch it again for this.
I like some of the fight scene when it's human on human fight scenes, and they do like a spinning kick, but they're not trained athletes, so their legs all bent, and it kind of hits them in the chest, but they still knock their head back like they got kicked in the chin. It is amazing.
Other than all the kind of like the amazing kind of fighting in suits and special effects, it feels like every live action scene was, we're going to print the first take. Like everything was just like, we're doing this once, we don't have time for anything else, right? All the money's been spent on these special effects, so we're printing every first take. Just move on, next setup, move on, reset. It's just brilliant. So good. Okay.
Yeah, it has that vibe.
Right, that was a fun chat about that. I'm glad we talked about that. Right, so let's wrap up movies, and we're going to be back with basically my favourite things that I saw from Xbox and Bethesda at Gamescom last week. Yeah, so obviously we did our big Gamescom opening night extravaganza podcast. That was me and Leah last week, where we went through everything that was basically shown in that particular showcase. This one, however, though, it was the Xbox and Bethesda showcase we're going to talk about now, and that aired on the Sunday evening. And I'm a long-time Xbox guy, right? One of the websites I used to write for was an Xbox fan site and things like that, and I've Xbox podcasted and stuff like that over many years, and it's quite remarkable to look back, because they're about to have their 25th anniversary next year, which might explain why this year's seems a bit lackluster in what was shown today, or shown on Sunday I should say. But going back over 25 years, the way that what Microsoft has kind of offered with the brand Xbox and with the hardware and the games has gone through the most remarkable evolutions. Like from a crazy console that nobody expected, which was actually called Xbox because it stood for the Direct Xbox, right? Do you remember DirectX as part of your PC gaming, right, Matt? Yeah. I don't know if you do, but that's why it was called that, right? Crazy to think that we're now moving into almost like a post-hardware sort of setup for Xbox, where their whole marketing thing now is that everything is an Xbox. They've got Games Pass. You can play Xbox on just about any, smart TV, PC, you name it.
Which I have tried now. I've actually done it.
Oh, right. What did you try, and what did you try on?
On my mobile phone, in bed, I Bluetoothed a Xbox controller to my phone and had 30 seconds of Doom Dark Ages. I was like, wow, I'm playing Doom Dark Ages on my phone. It's pretty cool.
I can't think of anywhere worse to play Doom Dark Ages, but I'm glad it worked and you tried it.
I just wanted to see if it worked. I had no intention of actually.
And do you know what? I've done a bit of it, and I won't play games like that, on that kind of tiny screen. But it's impressive it works, isn't it? Yeah. It's kind of cool that you can do that. But now, obviously, so this kind of connects to the big reveal, the big kind of news that came out of the showcase, which was the Xbox Rog Ally partnership deal that Xbox is doing with the ROG from, is it as Asus that makes the ROG
Asus,
Ally? Yeah, Asus. Yeah. And this is basically Xbox branded, Xbox buttons, Xbox literal button on one of their gaming handhelds, sort of Steam Deck competitors, and Switch destroyers. If you actually look at the specs, I mean, it pisses all over the Switch too. I think this thing looks cool. My wife, who's I was going to say a big gamer. She's not a big gamer, but she likes to game. She doesn't have a gaming PC. I think this will be a definite day one pickup for her, so she can play more games, at a decent spec in a PC style environment. She'll definitely want to get one. I'll get one because I literally can't resist something with Xbox branding on it. So that's just me, and I have that problem. But I think that top end version of this hardware, they're going to do two different handhelds with quite different specs. I'm not going to go into all of that now, but they are fairly distinct in their capabilities. But I think the top one is going to be like 900 quid easy. Like, what do you think, Matt?
Yeah.
So let's caveat this. Matt does this. You do game a lot, don't you, on a PC equivalent handheld?
Yes. So I got the Steam Deck day one, and I love my Steam Deck. I play it a lot. I'm very torn with this because I'm fortunate enough to have a big Steam library anyway through Humble Bundles and Steam sales, pretty much like how anybody else has almost 1,000 games on their Steam profile. So the Steam Deck works for me because I've got a library banked already there. But I also have Xbox Game Pass. Originally, the only reason I got it was for my kids because we have an Xbox and it's great because I can just pay £X per month. It's like, here are all the games, kids, play whatever you want. And there's plenty there for them to enjoy without me having to worry about them, but buying games regularly. And I've dabbled at Game Pass myself. You can play Game Pass games on the Steam Deck, but only through streaming. And with the Rog Ally, you can download Game Pass games on there, but the Rog Ally is already out. But it's not that Xbox branded version. But it doesn't work effectively for Steam users, because that's where the Steam Deck is. So there's this really weird divide between the two, and in my lovely dream world, I would love for Xbox to just turn around and go, yeah, you can download Game Pass games on your Steam Deck now, because that would just be the perfect fit for me. So I am torn. I won't get a Rog Ally because I've got plenty on my deck. But I like the approach that Xbox is taking, where they're not winning the console war, but their offering of Game Pass is very good. So let's just double down on that.
So, I mean, something that they mentioned at the unveiling of this handheld is that it's going to support other storefronts. So I have a feeling that they're going to find a way to get Steam games onto this.
There's support, and then there's
native out the box, super easy.
Because Steam, I can play Steam games. I can play Epic. I can install Epic games on there. And it supports Xbox Game Pass, so the Steam Deck has it. Why would I want to spend £900 on this Rog Ally?
I mean, it's going to be a considerably more powerful piece of hardware, and it's at the specs of this is using a new AMD processor as well. That is going to be more powerful than the existing Ally. So there is a lot here that makes someone obsessed with newest, latest, best go, no, I want this in my life. And the other nice thing, though, that the big thing here is the new software support. Now, I don't know how far you dove into this, but basically one of the big problems with these Windows-based gaming handheld computers is that it's Windows. And Windows runs a lot of bullshit in the background that clogs up that hardware, right? That means it doesn't run as efficiently, that you can't get the most out of it.
And it's not tinker-friendly.
Now, one of the differences here with this new one is that supposedly, now that Microsoft have allowed the Xbox team to kind of get involved directly with the development of this hardware, they're going to be releasing and tweaking the Windows experience in a way that will disable all of that bullshit stuff that you don't need to run a game while you're running the game, and you're going to be able to switch between it so that it can be like a PC or it can just be a handheld gaming console, because it's going to disable that stuff and optimize that gaming experience.
But now that's not new. Steam Deck does that. It runs off Linux.
Steam Deck, yeah, exactly. It's not fucking Windows though, mate. Right? So Windows has.
I think it's really good.
No, Linux is fine, but Windows has a bunch of functionality that Linux will never have. Right, and if you come from a Windows ecosystem and you want to be able to kind of get involved with more of that Windowsy stuff, you ain't going to be able to do that on a Steam Deck, right? You just can't. It doesn't have that capability. So one of the nice things that I will say about this piece of hardware is that
you can run Windows on a Steam Deck. Just saying.
Yeah, but it's going to run like shit, right? So let's be real. The actual horsepower in that Steam Deck now is starting to show its age, like quite a lot. It's been around for a few years, I think. It's
like
that stuff ages out. And when it first came out, it was never top end, right? And now it's really starting to fall down to the bottom end of the PC experience, right? So this new one, though, what doesn't excite the thing that excites me about this shell, this gamified Windows, isn't so much the specificity of that on this device. It's that that's potentially going to roll out, and this is what every indication shows, across all Windows. So imagine on my Windows 11 PC now, with my 3070, if I can disable all of Windows and just make it into a games console, imagine how much better my performance will be on any gaming experience I have using a Game Pass or a proper Xbox game, right? That's a really exciting prospect. That means that the whole gaming experience isn't just going to benefit on this Ally, it's going to have a huge impact across the entire ecosystem. And I think that is something, as a kind of a hardcore gamer, a tech guy, I'm going to be following really closely, because I'm really curious to see if that Xbox magic tinkering from that team will really percolate out across the Windows ecosystem. And I hope it does. I think that would be super cool. So I could turn my PC into an Xbox, basically, right? That would be great. So, 120 frames, all the bells and whistles, looking amazing, with like no effort, right? That's the bit, right, isn't it, about being a PC gamer that puts the console gamers off. The complexity of running games on PC. If you make it as simple as easy as a console, Xbox never needs to win a hardware race again. They never even need to play, because everyone's got a fucking PC with Windows on it.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, every Windows PC is an Xbox.
Which
they win.
As I said, it's the smart move. I think just don't build another console now. Xbox, like, you've got the offering of Game Pass. I don't think they need another. And
yet they've said they are going to do that.
Yeah.
They literally said last year they were working on the next Xbox and it's going to be the most powerful console, yada, 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 like they've said before. And I think with 25 years anniversary next year, I think there's a good chance we see that at the end of next year.
You know what? I probably would buy one, though, because with a family, it's perfect. I can just plug an Xbox into a telly. Here are some controllers, guys. Fill your boots. Here is a list of games. Have fun. There's no tinkering involved. There's no resolution settings, anything like that. So great for a family box to have.
Yeah, and they're only getting better and better with that Game Pass offering, because beyond the games that are offered now as part of their subscription, they're building the library up, but they've started to enable it. So if certain purchased games that aren't on Game Pass are now becoming available to stream, right? So I've got maybe 20, 30 games that I own that are not Game Pass games that I can now stream onto a smart TV, onto my mobile, onto whatever. And they keep building that out until it's the whole library, making games as accessible as that on any device. It's just insane, right? And I know my Xbox use case is edge, to say the least. I've got like 1,200, 1,300 Xbox games in my digital library because of what I used to do, right, with the coverage and stuff. But being out like that's why I'm so in the ecosystem. I can't really ever leave Xbox, because why would I want to leave all that behind? So I love the fact that it's going to be carried forwards. I think that's really exciting and really cool.
Yeah.
Right, should we talk? Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, I'm just happy that Xbox is still in it, because I've invested time and money into Xbox over the last couple of years myself.
Oh, I wish you hadn't said that, because now I want to talk about the threat of one console futures and monopolies in gaming, because that shit's scary to me, and I know that's what some people want. The idea that Xbox gets out of the race, they just become a software provider like Sega, everybody owns a PlayStation instead or something like that, and I'm like, God damn it, that all you're going to do is make every game cost $100, 100 quid, 150 quid, 200 quid, because there'll be no competition. And that's the only thing that keeps pricing in check, competition, right? So we don't want that. We don't want that. Like, whoa, sorry, I got passionate about that.
Yeah, that's cool. Jeez.
It's true though, yeah. I'm not crazy, right? That's
no, you're crazy.
Shit, fair. Right, should we talk about some games?
Yep.
Right. The Blood of Dawnwalker is a new fantasy RPG with a big thing about, well, I think we used to call these Dawnwalkers Daywalkers, and I think they were called Blade. Tell me if I'm wrong.
It's just medieval vampires, isn't it? It kind of look like The Witcher.
I thought it looked nice. It looked good, didn't it? I mean, it looked pretty cool. I can't remember what the developer was for it though, off the top of my head. But I didn't stand out in my head for that one. But
trailers.
Sorry.
Just fucking trailers.
Trailers. What you got a problem with video game trailers now? Like film trailers?
Yeah.
Really? But you play demos. I'm so confused.
Because I'm playing it.
Oh yeah. Okay. So the next one I know you do give a shit about, right?
I like the look of this one. This one looks cool.
Clockwork Revolution by In Exile, right? These are developers that have been around a long time putting out games. But I don't remember them ever putting out one that looked quite as prestige as this and has some strong sort of like Bioshocky vibes about it. You know, first-person shooter, lots of gun customization, interesting alternative kind of industrialized English vibe to it. I don't know. It's got some vibes, right? And it's just like a long trailer. This was like 7 minutes of reveal, wasn't it? I really went into it.
I definitely didn't watch 7 minutes of it, but it definitely, it definitely, gave me Bioshock vibes. I liked how some of the characters looked. They had like clockwork body parts, so I thought it was really cool. Steampunky first-person shooter, definitely, a very big Bioshocky feel to me on that one.
Yeah, I don't normally sort of jive with the whole steampunk aesthetic. I find it rote and played out, but there was something about this that it wasn't just that. So there's a time travel element involved with this where you can manipulate time and make different choices which affect the environment and affect the world. And I'm always a bit dubious about that in games because usually the idea of it sounds better than the execution turns out to be, because there's obviously inherent limitations in how much scope you can play with like that in a game. But the trailer did seem to indicate that there was going to be some fairly large ramifications to the choices you made, which is kind of cool. And I'm kind of like, okay, all right, let's see how we get with that. And I think one of the best things about everything that was shown, I think, at this event is it's all on Game Pass, right? So like barrier to entry is very low. So if you're even remotely interested, give it a go.
Well, this is something that I have done with Game Pass, going back to that whole demo thing, is if I go, that looks quite interesting, I just stream it first. It's not the greatest experience than if you were to download it, but if I can just get 10-15 minutes, just get a slice of what this thing is, I go, actually I do like the look of this, and then I download the game. So again, that offering to cloud stream it is brilliant.
I mean, the releases in the last 4 or 5 months, it hasn't stopped. There's been interesting game after interesting game, at least one or two every single month, to the point where I've fallen behind. Like I haven't even tried things like I can't remember, Minutes to Midnight, I want to say, something like that. And there's quite a few games which I haven't hit yet because I've been playing Doom: The Dark Ages, or I've been playing, deep into something else, right? So there's just so many games that are hitting Game Pass right now where it's like, man, like I've got to give that a shot. And I love that. And it's almost like when you go down to Blockbusters when you were a kid and go, I'm going to rent that, I'm going to see what that's like. But like with even easier, it's even easier. There's no barrier. It's I think we're spoiled, aren't we? We're spoiled.
Yeah.
The next one I've got on my list really stood out to me because it had such a cool vibe.
This
such
is my
a cool vibe.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
It was up there for me as well. Yeah. So There Are No Ghosts at the Grand, which had this felt like so it started off with like, there's this young guy, he's inherited a hotel and he's going to do it up. It's a bit like a House Flipper vibe. But then it sort of started to go like House Flipper, but what if demons and maybe like Lovecraftian elements and maybe it's the whole town and not just the hotel that you get to improve. And then there's a cast of wacky, interesting characters with some good writing and some fun voice acting. And I was like, and it's visual, very colourful and it's popping and it looks really fun. And I was kind of started off with like a just that, one of these, whatever. And by the end, I was like,
comfort games or whatever they're called at the moment.
Yeah, but by cozy.
Cozy.
And by the end, I was like, nope, want to play this. Want to check that out.
Yeah, so I like these sort of cozy games. Like I like House Flipper, Power Wash Simulator. I don't know if I'd put Crime Scene Cleaner as a cozy game. I guess it is. That one's really cool if you haven't played that one. So this one I'm basically just going to say the same as you. It gave me that sort of vibe because he's putting like paintings up on the wall and that, and then it has this narrative, and again it has this narrative behind it, which I was like, this is really cool. And then it expands into the town. I was like, oh, this has some levels to it. So this one I'm really going to keep a close eye on.
Yeah, I can't remember. Did it say 26? I think it was a while off this one, wasn't it? It wasn't this year, was it?
Oh, I'm not sure. Sorry.
Okay. No, and it has been about a week since I saw these trailers, so I'm a bit rusty. But I kind of intentionally didn't go back and remind myself because I wanted to just sort of go in raw with you, half cut, and see what happened. Next one up now.
Did you say go in raw with me?
Always.
Okay.
Always raw dog it with you, Matt. You know that.
Just checking.
Always
just checking.
God damn it, man. This is why it's after dark, baby. Why it's after dark. The kids are in bed. Who knows what we're gonna get up to? Right. Persona. Where are you with Persona? Any experience with Persona?
No, zero.
Oh man. So this is the one for me. This Persona 4 was my jam. This is the Persona that got me into Persona. That actually kind of got me into JRPGs, right? Because before that, Final Fantasy, I was like, whatever, this is boring fantasy. What do I always call it? Generic fantasy bullshit, right? I can't truck with that generic fantasy bullshit. I find it so boring sometimes. Not that all Final Fantasy is like that, don't get me wrong. But Persona, modern settings, high school shit, usually, like those kind of aged kids. Usually something psychological and sort of trippy and weird. Persona 4 was no different. Obviously, 5's had been a huge success. They've now gone off and kind of done their own sort of generic fantasy bullshit spin-off as well. But it's gone obviously for a few ones. 3 was a big hit. But 4, set in Inaba, small town Japan. I loved that setting. Not a big city. Had that kind of colloquial kind of close-knit vibe. It felt different. It felt isolating. You were the kid from the big city. You're trying to make new friends. You're trying to make those social links, but you're also delving into this mystery about the Midnight Channel and what's going on and why people were sort of winding up dead and like killed in mysterious ways. So it's just a fantastic game, and to see that they're going to do a revival of this in the same way they did with Persona 3. I think this is a super early trailer. No dates given. Barely anything shown in this, just that basically was just going, yeah, we're making it now, shut the fuck up. Like, it's gonna be a while. I don't think we see this until 27 maybe even, but I'm gonna be pumped to play it and see how they kind of modernize it, because there are some bits that are a bit, you know, questionable due to the age of the game at this point when it comes to some of the sort of characterizations of certain characters. So modernized, revamped visuals. I will be all over this once again for some anime bullshit, and that's my kind of anime. I love that shit. But yeah, excited for that, pumped for that. You're like, what the fuck, man?
I have no idea. Cool.
You got to play a Persona game. You got to play some Persona games. They're so fucking good. You just need like 120 hours, mate. You'll be fine.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Yeah. That's the thing. This game will come out. I won't have time to play it. I'll get it. I'll buy it. But am I fucking gonna have time to play it? Not a fucking chance. Not a chance. Not a hope. Right, next one up. Invincible versus. You watch Invincible, yeah?
I do.
On Amazon. So I was a little bit disappointed when this turned out to be a tag team fighter. Yeah. But it looked really good.
Well, did it take the cutscene stuff out? The actual fighting, it looked. It doesn't matter what character they showed, what scene it was. It looked all the same.
Yeah, but it looked like Invincible.
Airborne. It was, but
it's Invincible.
Yeah, it looked.
I fangirl so hard for Invincible, mate. I can't tell you. I love Invincible.
Fangirl away. The actual fighting element of this looked really boring. Just airbound, just the same combo over and over again.
Well, one thing that I thought was really interesting is when the good fighting games get announced, they will like tag them with the developer because the developer has a pedigree. So it'd be like Street Fighter by Capcom and like something like that, right? This or here's the new thing by Arxis, right? This had no indication of who was developing it. So I'm like, okay. Probably going to be like the guys that make the quite crap Dragon Ball games. So
yeah, it just looked really boring. It's not my number one genre, to say the least, fighting anyway. But
but you get to beat Atom Eve. Atom Eve is so cool. Okay. Before we get to the final one, the big one, which was the rug pull. Tell me a little bit about why you're excited for Grounded 2.
Oh yeah, so I've played a lot of Grounded 1 with the kids. They really enjoy it. I like base building survival games, but I particularly like base building survival games that have a story and goals and missions that the game gives me, which Grounded has. And they announced number 2, which just seems more of the same, better. They know that 1 was loved, so they're not reinventing the wheel. It's in a park rather than a garden. There's just some really cool bits, and it's coming out this summer. It's fantastic.
I mean, like Obsidian, I don't know what's happened at Obsidian, but all of a sudden they're making like 12,000 games all at once. And then they're all good or great. Like they went through a period, and I think they might be the biggest success for Microsoft's acquisitions. Like Microsoft purchasing Obsidian, giving them some stability, giving them some funding, has really helped that studio to like continuously put out solid, enjoyable games. Now I didn't have Outer Worlds 2 from the show on my pick list here. Because it looked like more Outer Worlds, which is not a bad thing, but also not something I was particularly worth remarking on. But the fact that you've picked out Grounded 2, and the fact that these guys are able to now hit up sequels and actually, create franchises because they've got that pipeline, they've got that stability of the funding, is really exciting for that studio. And I think they've put out some very interesting games over the years, sometimes very broken but often full of creativity games. And I'm pumped to see them succeeding. It's a real win for Xbox and what they've been able to achieve with them. So that's really cool. I wanted to get into Grounded. I really liked the idea of it because I love the old Honey, I Shrunk the Kids movies and stuff with Rick Moranis. There's some fucking sci-fi classics that I don't think enough people talk about, and the idea of it is so much fun. And then this new one, they've got kind of like that 80s cartoon pastiche thing going on in the trailer as well, which was really cool. But I didn't ever have a group to play it with, so maybe I should come and play with you, Matt, and maybe we can get into Grounded too.
Totally. So this is another thing they're really good with Game Pass. So although I don't have a third device as such, actually I do. I wonder if I could play on my Steam. No, I can't, because you can't stream an Xbox game while someone's playing an Xbox game on your profile.
Correct.
However, what you can do on the same Game Pass account is make multiple profiles. So the kids have their own profiles. I have my own profile. So one of them is upstairs on using a Xbox controller on the PC, and the other one is on the Xbox downstairs, and they're doing Grounded online co-op together without me having to pay for another Game Pass subscription. And I just kind of like flip between the two and see how they're getting on. It was really cool to see.
If you're listening, Phil, I think you need to send Matt a bill. It sounds like he's gaming the system. Yeah, Phil, you listening, Phil?
I don't know who Phil is.
Phil Spencer, the guy in charge of Xbox.
He knows. Sure.
Yeah, they do.
Pretty sure they know.
There are lots of weird like loopholes. Like go and buy a year of EA Play, right? At like you buy them in a quarterly bunch for like 20 quid each, and then you can kind of upgrade that to Game Pass for a fraction of the price of paying for a year of Game Pass. So they know this shit's out there, right? Yeah, they just want people engaging in their ecosystem. I don't think they're that bothered because at the end of the day they're making money.
I just made family accounts for the kids under my profile. We all friended each other.
Oh.
And then one of them signs on the Xbox, the other one signs on the PC, and then they just invite the other.
Think of the children. Right. Let's talk about this last trailer they showed. So you didn't watch the show itself, did you? Watch the trailers after the fact?
Yeah, I just watched the trailers.
So you didn't get to be like completely confused by, I can't remember who it was. They came out and I've got one more thing to show everybody. And this was after they sort of said next year's our 25th anniversary. We're going to have, this, that, and this. And then also a new iteration of one of your favorite original Xbox franchises, hinting at like a Halo or something, right? Which made everybody go, so what's the trailer going to be? Is it going to be, are we going to see Halo? Are we going to see something like that? And then this trailer came on. I was like, okay, it's not Halo, but okay, it's Peter Petrelli from Heroes. That actor guy, I recognize him. Oh, it's like psychological, it's sci-fi, it's robot-y, it's, what the fuck is this? This is really cool. It's going to be like third-person action or something, or a new franchise, and then it's Call of fucking Duty Black Ops 7? What the actual fucker do? Like,
I have, like, I probably buy a Call of Duty once every 5-6 years. They're just milking the cash cow. I'm bored of it.
Call of Duty Black Ops 6, last year's game, on Game Pass right now. They put that, first time they put a Call of Duty, new Call of Duty out on Game Pass, right? That campaign is one of the best first-person shooter campaigns for a modern set shooter that's come out in years. It is a brilliant action, fun campaign, great characters, great set pieces, really good story. It's flipping awesome, man. Honestly, worth checking out and downloading just to play that campaign, right? Screw off the multiplayer or zombies mode or whatever else. The reason people are a bit like rug pulled by this is, first of all, that it's another Black Ops after a Black Ops last year, which isn't how they usually do it. And also because the whole none of that trailer looked like it was Call of Duty until it was. When they said it was Call of Duty. And everyone was like watching that going, what? Oh, new IP. This is cool. What's this like? Oh, exciting. It's Call of Duty. And it's like so disappointing. Like there's just no other way of putting it. It was such a bummer. It was such a bummer. Because they've done it before, right? Famously, they had Kevin Spacey as an actor in one of those Call of Duties, if I remember rightly. They're saying whoops, but he was cleared of all charges and he's an innocent man.
True. So is Michael Jackson.
Okay. Moving on. So like, I just thought seeing that as Call of Duty was just not a happy move. Not a great way of ending the show either, because if you're going to do a one more thing or something like that, it should be a surprise. It shouldn't be the 7th iteration of a particular series within a ginormous franchise. Like, it just didn't make sense.
Unfortunately, there's a million people that will still buy it anyway or download it.
It's on It'll be on Game Pass. I'll play it. I'm going to play it. I'll fucking play it.
So, yeah. They probably know this. They probably know everyone's going to cite this, but they're going to do it anyway. So fall in line, sheep. Fall in line.
Sheeple will obey. Sheeple.
Exactly. Yeah.
Final thing I wanted to mention, didn't come out of Xbox and Bethesda, didn't come out of the opening night live. It came out somewhere in the middle of the weekend. It kind of snuck out there. I think it was on an IGN showcase. But it looks like possibly one of the coolest games shown at this particular weekend of gaming extravaganza, which was The Expanse, Osiris Reborn. Matt, you're going to tell me you've never watched The Expanse, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I've watched it. Everyone's seen The Expanse.
Really? Have you seen it or not? Be honest with me, Matt.
Space and...
Tell me, give me one character name from The Expanse. Just one. Just one. Just one. I mean, one character. Yeah, one character.
The spaceship. A clone?
I mean, that hurts because there is a kind of hero spaceship in it as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, but
see,
it's not
told you I've seen it.
Not called the spaceship.
Harold.
Okay. Well, first of all, you need to find some time and watch The Expanse. It's possibly the best science fiction television show ever made.
Is it more than 30 minutes?
Yes. It's seriously good though, mate. Seriously. But anyway, this game has been announced, set in the Expanse universe. And they're trying to go for like a third-person action adventure game in the vein of a Mass Effect. So, squad, hub, story, the solar system is your plaything. It's still a way off. Like, they just wanted to show off some gameplay and show off some like trailer to get you excited about it, but no set release date. But I am extremely hyped to see how this game goes. Normally you don't get that excited for a franchise game, based on an existing IP like that. But we've seen, Indiana Jones just came out recently and was absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
right?
I like that game.
Great games can be made off of existing franchises and existing IP. So I am really excited to see more about The Expanse, Osiris Reborn. Everything we saw in the trailer really conveyed the realism of the Expanse universe, which is all about relativistic physics and ships and objects moving through zero-G in realistic ways, and how soundtrack moves in that space as well. A little bit like, did you watch... Probably didn't. Did you see the reboot of Battlestar Galactica all those years ago?
I would rather shit on my hands and clap.
What's wrong with you? Did your mum drop you on your head 6 or 7 times? Like, what happened?
More than likely. I think you knew the answer to that before you even asked.
I mean, yeah, you can see with the shaved head, it's quite flat up there.
No, it's like I've never watched Star Trek. You
don't do sci-fi. Is that like you don't do sci-fi? Is that a thing?
I don't actively avoid it. It just never fell on my radar.
I need to Clockwork Orange you, right? I need to like put you in front of a screen, force your eyes open, and make you endure all the classic science fiction, and then brainwash you.
I will try and watch one at some point.
So do I need to pick the one because there's so many?
Yeah, I've heard the Expanse is for more modern viewing. It's better.
But I mean, the reboot of BSG was also very modern and very gritty and very, very good as well. But yeah, I'd probably pick the Expanse over BSG. Yeah, now it's even more modern and yeah, it's very, very good. But anyway, the Expanse of Osiris Reborn looks really great. We're gonna wrap that up. We're gonna come back, and then you're either gonna break my heart or you're gonna make my soul sing. So we'll be back in a second with a little bit more gaming chat. Okay, Matt, last time I had you on, the most popular episode of this podcast that we've ever produced.
Of the most popular podcast ever?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Data to back that up. You told me, after you finished, I can't remember what it was you were playing, but after you finished what you were playing...
Baldur's Gate 3.
Baldur's Gate 3, that was it, yes, big game. And feel free to touch on that before you get into the next thing, but you were going to dive into, for the first time ever...
Yep.
The Doom franchise of games, my all-time favourite series of games, and you were going to start in a slightly unorthodox place with Doom 2016, but I can understand that, I can allow that. And now you've been playing some Doom 2016. I don't know how far you've gotten. You've not spoken to me about this, and like I said a minute ago, you were either going to make my soul sing or you were going to crush me into depression I might never recover from. So, tell me.
I like it.
You like?
Well, okay.
How far in are you?
I am at the Lazarus place.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm quite. I reckon I'm about 3/4 of the way through it.
Yep.
So I've had a good go at it.
How many what difficulty are you playing on?
Hurt Me Plenty.
Okay.
Which I think is
pretty even. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Good balance.
Not finding it overly challenging, which I guess by design.
Yep.
But yeah, I like it. This is probably where I might semi-cry. Like it's it's not special. Like it's not okay. What it does very well. If this was a £60 game when it first came out, I would have been very disappointed.
Really? Why? Yeah.
There's I'm 4 hours in. I've almost completed it. It'll be done in 6 hours tops.
No, I'm not. Maybe I'm confusing where you are in the campaign.
So I've picked up the BFG.
Okay.
Well, what does Steam say? How long I've been playing it for?
Yeah,
and I've googled it, so I know I'm 3/4 of the way through. So I'm 4.6 hours in. So maybe 7 hours I will have this done. Having said that, I haven't been secret hunting. But then
it's half the fun of it.
Is it? I just don't want to shoot demons. I don't want to.
I mean, that's good too.
Let's just talk. Right. So I love what it does as a boomer shooter. I think it's really cool. Really cool. It's a little repetitive, just like shotgun. They flash blue, press F. Shotgun. They flash blue, press F. Like I'm doing that on repeat against most of the mobs. I like the arena setups where you grab a lot of body parts in this, and I'm not talking heads and arms, like testicles. I've ripped demons' anuses from their body. That was quite cool, with the weird rhino things that charge you. You kind of rip their ass out. And it's cool. So like the arena setups is neat, and I like it when that music. I turned sound effects down a little bit and turned music up. So I'm glad I did that.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about music. Yes, let's talk about music.
When that music kicks in, I just find myself just like nodding my head, and I'm just like on autopilot, just shooting things.
Yeah. So Mick Gordon. That music is so deeply a part of that experience in that game. The bit that I've replayed so many times is that opening mission, and when you first get that shotgun in the lift and you cock the gun to the music beat, and it's almost like it's a title card. It's like, and now welcome to fucking Doom, motherfucker.
Yeah,
and it's like, and now you go and you don't stop.
It reminded me of
and it's amazing.
Half-Life 2 when Gordon Freeman gets the crowbar. That sort of
but let's be real. Shotguns are way better than fucking crowbars.
100%.
So Doom Guy would piss on Gordon Freeman's dead body and then eat it. I think it's fair to say.
And Doom Guy's angry. Like
Doom Guy has issues.
Even the robots that give you like options to buff your gun, he like takes it and then kind of like shoves it in its face, like pushes it away. I'm like, dude, you're mean. He's just a mean guy.
Doom Guy, like, and they build on this and develop on this. The fucking demons are scared of Doom Guy. Like, Doom Guy, that he's known, and you don't fuck with Doom Guy. If you see Doom Guy, you know your end is near.
Yeah.
Like, he's so great. So great. He's so metal.
I like that I feel very powerful. Like, you can throw all the demons, shape sizes you want at me. Like, by the time this music ends, there's just going to be carcasses everywhere. And I'm going to walk out that door one way or another. Like, I like that feeling. Yeah, it's just a cool, fun game, very visceral. I'm playing it in chunks. I won't be able to binge play this. I will get bored, and I don't want to get bored of it. So I'm doing a mission per sitting. I'm not going any further than I'm not doubling up on. I complete a mission and I stop. Even if I think I want more, I'm stopping because I don't want to overdo it to the point where I'm getting bored of it, because the plan is for me to do the 3 latest Dooms in relatively quick succession. So I'm going to do Eternal after this and then Dark Ages after that. So I don't want to get like Doom fatigue, but I like all the gun power-ups. I've powered up fully a few of my weapons now, and that feels really cool. Like I went down the plasma rifle route, so that just now heats itself up. So I'm just doing the like a shockwave attack constantly. So I like all that stuff. That is things that I look for in games, just like some level of complexity. And I like that not the Gatling gun machine gun, but the other like heavy machine gun. I can now just consistently fire rockets constantly without them having to reload, and that's just super fun. So it's a fun, visceral experience, just good fun. It is a little repetitive by, I guess, design. I don't know how you could make these things not repetitive, really, any shooter to some degree. So I am just playing it in chunks. I'm just enjoying it. But like I said, I haven't done all the extra stuff. Like, I was looking at the mission, like the extracurricular medals you'd get on the missions, and I thought, I'm trying to do things where I don't feel like Doom Guy. I'm trying to do certain kills or certain way, and I think I just want to scale through as many guns as I possibly can in this fight. Shoot, explode, just have fun, do it my way. So I didn't want to deter from that fun bit, but I can see where you might complete it and then later on do another run and go, I'm going to find all the secrets, or I'm going to do all these extra side quests. But for a first playthrough, I don't care for all that stuff.
I think it's really interesting because you're playing, going into Doom 2016 without any Doom previous is, well, impossible for me to imagine, but at the same time, a really curious thing to hear about, because I think one of the things that was so revolutionary about 2016 was how it took Doom 93 and made it new, made it modern, right? But you don't have that. You don't have that lexicon. You don't have that history.
Yeah. So I think I said I have played Doom 93, but only a little bit. I haven't completed it. I think I've done the first act. That's it, really. I've done like the first level. I know the music. I
beat Doom 93 every couple of years since it came out, right? So it's like, yeah.
I don't have that nostalgic tie to it, but like I said, I'm enjoying 2016. I like what it is, and I know what it is. I'm going into it knowing what it is, but I don't care for the extra stuff. I just want to rip demons.
I can't wait for us to. We'll keep checking in, right, as you go through the evolution of this, literally through evolutions and then to Dark Ages, because it's a real journey, and they don't stand still with this franchise. They really push it forwards as it goes through those, and I'm really interested to see, because I think 2016 was a proof of concept. Right, that they really kind of, it's quite pared back, I think, in level design, in monster variety, in environments. It's quite restrained, and then Eternal really blows it out, and it's a way bigger game with more complexities. And then Dark Ages is doing something different again. I won't spoil any of that, but I can't wait to see how you go. I think you'll kind of like them all a bit more than the previous one. I have a feeling that because they all move towards your sense. I think you're going to really like the second one.
Weirdly,
I think you're going to really like Eternal.
Something I am doing, which I didn't think I would do, is I'm quite enjoying the lore, reading the data logs and all that kind of stuff, and I'm actually kind of behind that. Oh, we're trying to pull energy from sources from hell and all this kind of stuff. Well, that's kind of dope. I quite like that.
Argent energy, I believe, is the term, is it not?
Oh, I didn't go too far into that.
But the and then you've got the kind of like the plot in the first one. It's been a while since I played it, 2016, but it's like scientist, isn't it? Scientist guy is trying to abuse the hell energy, and that's how he's unleashed the demons, and it's pretty cool. I mean, it's fun. And any other music moments? Because obviously you've said you've got the BFG, so some of the best music is around the BFG part of the game, the BFG division. I think it's the track on the album, and it's probably one of the most metal, insanely hardcore tracks there is. So you've obviously played through that. Did it stay with you?
Yeah, like I want the one criticism with the music, it doesn't kick in as quick as I like it to. So it has this crescendo and builds up when you're doing like one of these arena battle things, like kill everything to move on to the next stage. But sometimes it kicks in like, yes, here we go, and then it ends. I'm like, oh, what?
So the music in 2016 is very much authored, whereas the music in Eternal, Mick isn't involved, and not in Dark Ages either, but it's much more contextual. So it's based off of action triggers, but therefore the music is less authored, and it's more loops, and it's more kind of, it's less standout, whereas the tracks in 2016 are, this is the song, this is the moment it happens in.
Yeah.
Right?
No, and I get that, yeah.
And I actually prefer, I think the use of music has never been better than in 2016. That it's better in Dark Ages than it was in Eternal, but it's the quality of it in the first one was just standout. I listened to that album. I listened to that music without the game.
I can imagine going to sleep listening to it.
Can you?
Yeah, just like night, babe.
Yeah, it's just super intense bass.
Yeah,
but vibrating through your soul. Yeah.
When it hits, the music, the combat, the guns, it really hits well. Like, it's really cool, and I think that's why I'm just playing it the way I'm playing it. Like, because I am not speed running it, but I'm not doing all the extra stuff. And that's why I'm just worried about getting another fight. I don't want that to happen because I am enjoying my time with it. So I'm just pacing myself through. The
final thing I want to talk about is what you said at the beginning, which is the value proposition of a $60 game probably would have been 50 when in 2016 came out, and you felt like it's a bit slight. Well, you haven't talked about the two other pillars of the game, right? So there was multiplayer, full-on multiplayer suite that came out with the game, and Snap Map.
What's that?
So they built in a whole set of modding level design tools into the game so that people could make their own missions. Now, obviously, the original Doom, famous for its WODs, right? For its custom designed content. And they kind of wanted to capture that in a slightly more accessible way so that people could do it on consoles and things like that and create their own campaigns and missions. And if you do go into the Snap Map on the game, and you should browse through and have a look at what people have created, like the best ones, and have a go, because there's some really awesome stuff on there. But when you talk about the value proposition, it wasn't just the campaign, it was a full multiplayer suite and a full create your own levels, share with people offering a la Mario Maker as well.
Okay.
So
so it was Doom Little Big Planet.
Sure. Yeah, we'll go with that. And also I just want to mention, weirdly, when I reviewed Doom 2016, and I only gave it 8 out of 10, right? So I look back at that, and it's weird because it's one of the few times where I look back at a review and a score, and I think my thoughts on it have changed, and I actually like it a lot more now than I did when I reviewed it, without that, looking back on it without the critical lens, as it were, because I remember being very critical of the multiplayer and being like, wow, this is just so pointless and predictable and uninventive, and therefore I kind of docked it in my mind because of that. But now I don't look at that multiplayer as part of the game at all. It doesn't mean anything, right? It's all about that campaign. So, yeah, interesting.
Yeah, but I'm enjoying it more than I thought I would.
Good.
But I'm also aware that I could get bored of it very quickly, so I'm playing it in a certain way to make sure that doesn't happen.
Well, smash through, get to Eternal, and discover the next iteration. I can't wait to talk to you about it when it happens.
More ripping anuses out of
always
demons.
Always ripping anus, mate. That's what we just do here on 8 Dead Giants After Dark.
We rip anus. That's another thing we didn't say about Robot Jocks. One of the phrases they say is crash and burn, as like a good luck. Why would you say crash and burn?
I prefer rip anus.
I think we should.
I think from now on, me and you, when we handshake, we do a thumbs up, fist bump, thumbs up, fist bump,
and we say rip anus.
Rip anus.
Yeah, that's gonna be it now. Rip anus.
When I next see you, rip anus.
Is that a hello or a goodbye though?
I think it's both. Nah, I think it's ambidextrous.
I would like to. No, hello. You're not going to say rip anus when you're saying hi to someone, are you?
Oh, but you could say it like this. Hey, mate, rip anus. Like, you give it some Australian twang.
No,
like it works.
I like the see you later, mate. Boom, rip anus, and then disappear.
Okay. Like you go get back to ripping anus. Like I know you're good at
rip anus.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
I like that. What do we do to greet? Crash and burn doesn't work.
Crash and burn certainly
we'll work on this. We'll workshop this. We'll workshop
it.
We'll workshop this.
Rip anus is farewell.
Let's get back to the epilogue. Good to talk about Doom. Back in a sec. So the anus has been ripped. This has been a bumper episode. We've covered a lot. I am very sweaty. And I'm
sweaty.
and also it's hot out. Yeah. I didn't talk about the game I've been playing, but I think I'll save that for another time. I know I'll just tease it like that.
Sounds awful.
Have you never played it?
Again, I'd rather do something on my hands and clap.
You're missing out. It's great. It's super addictive. But anyway, we'll talk about that another time, maybe. I'm just going to leave that teaser out there. Nobody's going to know now until a future episode. Woohoo, what were we talking about? That was really good fun, man. That was really good, as always. Really good.
Thank you for having me.
It's been lovely having... When do you think you'll be on to Eternal, then?
Probably... Probably the next week or two.
I'll have to talk to your agent and get you booked in.
Yeah.
Yeah, see when we can line up our schedules, make that work. Yeah, good times. But that has been a brilliant episode of 8 Dead Giants Ramble Chat. Episode 8, another After Dark special, which is our little... Much like Call of Duty Black Ops is a series within a series, After Dark is a series within a series. See, it's all related. We're all connected. I think next week I can tease there'll be more TV chat. We didn't have any TV chat in this episode. Maybe some comic book chat as well, because there's some really good releases I want to touch on there. That's happening right now. All right, pen and paper boy, calm down. All right, board game boy. Do you know next time we do After Dark? Boy? Yeah, you do your D&D bullshit, don't you? Right, next time though,
don't use a pen in D&D.
Maybe bring some board game stuff because you're the board game guy.
Yeah, I could do that.
That would be fun. I'd love, maybe some hot 2025 Matt board game recommendations.
Oh, so I'm not up to date with the newest. So it will be like hot Matt recommendations from games probably about 5+ years old.
Great. So really. I could finger on the button.
We just talked about Robot Jocks and Doom 2016. It's not like we're talking about modern stuff here.
Can I just be clear? The reason we talked about them was because you wanted to talk about them.
Because Robot Jocks is the best 7.8 movie of all time.
Fucking why have a 10-point scale and then make it a 100-point scale? You guys are weird. Like why do that? Just call it a 78. Just call it a 78.
You're not going to get invited into movie club with that attitude, Benjamin. That's all I'm going to say.
I don't need to be in movie club because I know more than you guys combined, so it's fine.
You didn't want to watch this week's movie, and I told you what it was.
What was that again? Some fucking Bollywood shit you said, didn't you?
It's not shit. But yes, it was a Bollywood film.
Can you remember what it was called?
Jat. Jaat.
Jat.
Yeah, it's no... there's two that I would recommend. I would recommend Jat. It's a fun time. But I would really recommend... I don't know if it's still on Netflix, but it's like RR.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that.
Jats is a Robot Jocks version of RRR.
That doesn't sell it to me at all. Okay. Cool. Well, look, it's been wonderful, Matt, and thank you for listening. Right, time for that plug. Do you have a soft plug, a hard plug, a semi plug? Any plugs that you need for you right now?
Just rip anus.
Rip anus. I will plug, however, that I still can't get over the fact because I've never had a podcast on there before, right? This podcast is on Audible. You can go to the Audible website where the audiobooks live and find 8 Dead Giants and subscribe via Audible, and then you can rate us and review us on Audible. It makes me feel like an author, which I'm definitely not. And it's awesome that we're on Audible. It's super cool. Like, I think that's like worth shouting about. So please subscribe on Audible because it makes us feel like we're slightly fancier than we are as well. And I like that.
We're definitely not.
But also Spotify, right? iTunes. I mentioned on the last week's show, it's great that you guys listen on YouTube and subscribe on YouTube, and I appreciate that. However, it doesn't help the algorithm much, right? And the algorithm is all about the trick of getting this podcast out to more people. So ratings and reviews on a proper podcast platform such as Spotify, Audible, or iTunes really helps with the exposure for the podcast. So please give us a rating and review. Matt, have you given us a 5-star review yet?
I did on Spotify.
Oh, you mensch. There you go. That will help. That literally means the podcast will be seen by more people and will grow, and then we can get sponsorship. And I'm going to launch it.
I'm going to tell you what score I gave you, but I definitely
even a low score. Even a low rating will help with the algorithm. Like, better than nothing, right? But please, 5 stars, please, if you can. Like, if you only gave it 4, Matt, like, was it because I didn't always agree with you on Robot Jocks? I mean, I don't understand.
This was before, right? It was because it didn't have Robot Jocks in suit. Now I can bump it to a 5.
Oh, you're gonna now make it a 5?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Do you want to just? Should we do like a whole podcast series just about like a minute by minute breakdown of Robot Jocks? Would you like to do that, Matt? Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
Please.
Okay. We could do that. I mean, it's quite a short movie, so it probably shouldn't take that long. So,
Geronimo.
125 minutes. Get through that well quick. I don't know. This is the longest outro ever, but like, I'm just gonna say goodbye now. All right, goodbye.
Rip anus.
Rip anus. Fist bump.
Fist bump.
Fist bump.